120 billion years. Hanju's Tao heart began to waver. His lifespan consumption broke the record again. Was there really a need? Yes. He had to kill Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. This was the only thing. He wouldn't do this again. Hanju gritted his teeth and persisted. After consuming nearly 150 billion years of his lifespan, he finally saw an email. Because of your curse, your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had his Tao heart cracked. His dermic powers went into chaos and misfortune attacked him with endless negative karma. Hanju immediately stopped. After cursing for so long, Hanju didn't feel any discomfort, but his breathing was a little chaotic. As expected of the Zenith Heaven realm, he was firm like a tree. Hanju looked forward to how many years of his lifespan he could spend at most, but he didn't dare to think too much. He was afraid that he would become addicted. No matter how long his lifespan was, he couldn't withstand the consumption of hundreds of billions of years. Hanju was vigilant against himself. He couldn't become addicted. Even as a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, he could not rashly provoke a powerful enemy. Hanju put down the Book of Misfortune and released the strange deity. He started cultivating after so many years. He finally began to cultivate. He actually felt that it had been a long time. He checked his emails as he cultivated. Your disciple Long Hao and the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal have begun to fuse. Your good friend Huang Jihao was attacked by human cultivators, X1092. Your good friendly Dao Kong was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Your good friendly Dao Kong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure and was severely injured. Your grand disciple Fang Liang dreamed of the Dao ancestor when he was cultivating. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Zhou Fan has devoured the true sun flame and obtained the Emperor Ancestral Bell's recognition. Your good friend Huang Zuntian listened to the sage preach and his cultivation increased greatly. Long Hao and Hao Tian had fused. He wondered what kind of trouble these two would cause. Ever since Long Hao began to oppose the Heavenly Emperor, Hanju no longer had a favorable impression of him and no longer cared about his life. People changed. Hanju noticed that Li Daokong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. He was already a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. The mysterious mighty figure was definitely stronger than a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. At the very least, he was a pseudo-sage. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan still has a pseudo-sage around him? Hanju discovered that he had still underestimated Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's connections. As for Zhou Fan, he had inherited Di Lantian's legacy and wanted to control the Golden Crow Divine Clan. As expected of the reincarnation of a sage, the protagonist of the heavens. In short, the atmosphere of the war had weakened greatly. At least, that was the case in his circle of friends. The past 10 years had been relatively peaceful. Hanju focused on cultivating after reading the emails. Even if he became a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, Hanju could still rely on absorbing negative karma to become stronger. The negative karma contained in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus was extremely huge. The accumulation of countless calamities could be said to be endless. Time passed quickly. Hanju was cultivating diligently. The immortal world had been changing because of the calamity, causing all kinds of geniuses to appear. Among them, the momentum of the humans became stronger and stronger. More and more hidden experts appeared. Only then did everyone realize that as the protagonist of the heavenly Tao, the humans were no longer mortals who needed the protection of the various sage sects and immortals. Mortals were already comparable to immortals, even surpassing them. Year after year passed. About 17 years passed. Hidden Sect Island shook again. This time, everyone was calm. Hanju sensed that it was the dark power that surged over. Fortunately, the Tao field had already increased and there was no need to worry. 10 minutes later, Hanju suddenly felt a familiar aura pass. Su Qi? What a coincidence! Hanju knew that Su Qi was in the dark forbidden zone, but it was so big, and he could actually bump into him. Could it be a conspiracy of a mysterious existence? I want to know who planned for us to meet Suchi here? Hanju asked in his heart. He would offend a sage in the future. He could only be cautious. He could only be plotted against by others, so he had to be careful. 3 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? So many? It was indeed a trap. Continue. A burly figure appeared in Hanju's mind, and a line of words appeared in front of him. Jinin, cultivation unknown. Heavenly Tao Sage, immeasurable emperor, one of the golden immortals of the Jie school. Because he deduced that Su Qi has karma with you, he especially led Su Qi to wander around the dark forbidden zone, wanting to bump into you. Heavenly Tao Sage? Hanju was stunned. He thought that there was only one sage in the Jie school, who was the sect master of the heavenly court. After all, he had watched the investiture of the gods in his past life. Furthermore, the Jie school of the immortal world was really pathetic. They had all lost. Disciple, bear with it for now. Hanju thought silently and continued cultivating, waiting for Su Qi to pass. Sage Jinin couldn't spy on the Dao field. As for Su Qi, he was the one who insisted on leaving back then. Now, all of this was karma that he should endure. After a while, Su Qi's aura disappeared. Hanju couldn't spy on the dark forbidden zone, but Su Qi didn't belong there. In the dark forbidden zone, he was like a lamp in the night, very eye-catching. However, Su Qi had also lost all his senses. He couldn't spy on his surroundings. Hanju didn't know how this kid had been all these years. After Su Qi left, Hidden Sect Island returned to normal. Hanju entered his cultivation state again. 3 years later, the Hidden Sect's 100-year competition began again. Li Yao was still the strongest among the disciples, but compared to the other immortal emperors, she was still not their match. Jiang Yi was not bad. He had actually defeated the Black Hell Demon Lord. This excited him. Jiang Yi was in high spirits and finally straightened his back. This fellow overestimated himself and still wanted to challenge Hanju. Hanju didn't refuse and killed him with a punch. Although it was a simulation trial, Jiang Yi still felt depressed. The others were curious about what he had experienced. Haha, could he have been beaten up by Master? The Black Hell Chicken laughed loudly. The others couldn't help but laugh. Hanju was not a magus. How could he be so violent? Jiang Yi roared, "Shut up!" Seeing that he was so angry, everyone was stunned. Could it be that the stinky chicken was right? Above the sea of clouds, under the old tree, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan stood facing Great Nine Heavens, who emitted a divine light. Have you thought about it? Great Nine Heavens asked. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's expression was ugly as he said in a low voice, "I haven't lost yet. I was repelled by Li Daokong because the Dark Forbidden Lord suddenly cursed me. Otherwise, Li Daokong would definitely not be my match." Great Nine Heavens shook his head and said, "Defeat is defeat. You, a pseudo-sage, can't kill a Zenith Heaven. It's ridiculous." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was silent with a livid expression. Great Nine Heavens sighed. "This is the sage's intention, but I have a plan." "What plan?" "Kill Li Xianao of the human school and replace his role in the human race." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan almost cursed. This was definitely going to cause a fallout with the human school. He was not the sage's match. Great Nine Heavens said meaningfully, "You know best what will happen to you if you lose this opportunity. I'm doing this for your own good. The current heavenly Tao immeasurable calamity is only a piece of cake. The true calamity is still ahead. At that time, everyone below the sages will be as insignificant as ants." When his consciousness returned to the Khanate cave abode, Hanju opened his eyes and frowned. The cultivation difficulty of the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm far exceeded his imagination. Although his absorption speed was still very fast, he did not accumulate much cultivation. He was far from the mid-stage Zenith Heaven realm. Hanju had no choice but to look at the grand unity aspect. The grand unity aspect was the easiest way to increase his strength now. Although it was very safe in the Tao field, the immeasurable calamity was still ongoing. Hanju had to increase his strength as much as possible. He began to cultivate his second Dharma idol. The second Dharma idol was different from the heavenly constellation Fiend Celestial. Its power was extremely sinister and terrifying. Hanju was very cautious when cultivating this Dharma idol, afraid that he would suffer a backlash. It took him nearly 20 years to cultivate this Dharma idol. The 9 Yin Fiend Celestial contained the power of Yin, able to devour souls and techniques. It was extremely powerful. If mastered, one could even devour the Great Tao upon greater mastery. After Hanju succeeded, he immediately entered the simulation trial. Both Dharma idols appeared at the same time. No one below the mid-stage Golden Immortal Realm could defeat him. Even if they were at the late-stage Golden Immortal Realm, Hanju could still fight. After reaching the Zenith Heaven Realm, other than Dharmic powers, what was truly tested were mystical powers and Dharma treasures. Every Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal had their own powerful Dharma treasure, but not everyone had a Heavenly Tao Supreme treasure like Hanju. Too strong. There are only 2 Dharma idols now. When I have 100, won't I be invincible in the Zenith Heaven Realm? Hanju was extremely excited. He continued to comprehend the third Dharma idol. However, he was stunned to find that he could no longer comprehend the third Dharma idol. The grand unity aspect seemed to have closed the door to him as the huge quantity of memories vanished. What happened? Could it be that he could only cultivate 2 Dharma idols from the grand unity aspect? Hanju sensed carefully. The inherited memories of the grand unity aspect were still there, but they sealed themselves in the depths of his soul. He couldn't forcefully open them as a strange force blocked him. Hanju's heart tightened and he asked in his mind, could it be that the grand unity aspect is a trap of the sages? Everything given by the system is 100% harmless. Hanju laughed at himself. He was really too cautious. Then, I want to know. Why can't I continue the inheritance? Hanju asked in his mind. CHCK for EWSD rise on no VL bin. Silencio, cultivation is insufficient. This mystical power contains a great Tao restriction. Hanju suddenly understood. So, that was the case. It seemed that cultivating the grand unity aspect was not feasible. He had to increase his cultivation first. Hanju sighed. He could only start the long and boring process of devouring negative karma. At this moment, he realized why those Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals were so unrestrained. Even cultivating the stellar primordial body was so troublesome, let alone the others. Another 10 years passed. Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed Jade Emperor Zhou Yan while checking his emails. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your disciple Su Qi has devoured the inauspicious evil and the power of misfortune has transformed. Your grand disciple Fang Liang has reversed the fate of the heavenly court and revived your good friend Divine General. The providence of the heavenly court has begun to revive. Your good friend Ji Xianshan was attacked by human cultivators, X1222287. Your good friendly Dao Kong was attacked by Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Your good friendly Dao Kong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure and was severely injured. Your Dao companion Xian Qingjun has entered the deity realm of the ruins of End. Your disciple Long Hao has created a heavenly Dao mystical power that can shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep. Hanju was shocked to see that Su Qi devoured the inauspicious evil. This kid seemed to have embarked on an evil path and was becoming stronger. No matter how he looked at it, Su Qi looked like an evil villain. The Dark Forbidden Lord had a successor. As for Fang Liang, he could actually reverse the fate of the heavenly court. What kind of method was this? In any case, Hanju was frightened. People who died could be revived by him? Could this kid be the reincarnation of the Tao ancestor? The more Hanju thought about it, the more he felt that it was suspicious. I want to know Fang Liang's most hidden true identity, Hanju asked in his mind. 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? So expensive. Hanju cursed silently. Why did everyone around him have a powerful background? Could it be that a huge hand was pushing all of this? Hanju gritted his teeth and chose to continue. Fang Liang, rank 3 immortal emperor, successor of the Tao ancestor, master of the heavenly court. The Tao ancestor preached the Tao to the heavens and distributed providence for the children of the world. Because Fang Liang kept rising and had great karma with you, he was chosen by the Tao ancestor to be his successor. Tao ancestor's successor. So impressive? Hanju was shocked. Why was it still related to him? The Tao ancestor was paying attention to him? It was not only the Tao ancestor. There were also Niwa, Empress Hutu, Sage Jinan, Ancestor Shitian, and others. Hanju discovered that he was targeted by many sages. Most importantly, these sages did not directly target him. Instead, they used others to approach him. Could it be because he had transmigrated through the primordial chaos? The more Hanju thought about it, the more likely it was. If the sages wanted to harm him, they would definitely hate him. So far, the sages had only paid a little attention to him. That made sense. Sages looked down on the myriad worlds in the universe. How could they easily develop emotions towards some insignificant living being? Most importantly, the sages did not know where he was hiding. Hanju didn't have to worry at all. After thinking about this, Hanju felt relieved. No matter what, with Fang Liang's identity as the Tao ancestor's successor, he should be able to survive in the future. This calamity is really becoming more and more interesting. Even the Tao ancestor is involved. Hanju thought silently. Thinking about it now, it was a joke that Jade Emperor Zhou Yan wanted to eliminate the Tao ancestor. It was even more ridiculous for Zhu Tu to challenge Niwa. Everything was within the sage's plans. Wait, could this change be related to me? Hanju thought of this and was terrified. He was also very helpless. Was this fate? Even sages couldn't escape from it? Heavenly Court, Imperial Garden. Fang Liang sat in the courtyard and drank with the Divine General. Fang Liang smiled and asked, "How do you feel?" The Divine General sighed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. You're truly remarkable. I've never heard of such a mystical power." He wasn't flattering Fang Liang. The fact that his soul was revived was unimaginable. Fang Liang's face was a little pale as he smiled and said, "Among the 3 great generals, I trust you the most. The Heavenly God General is unfathomable. The Martial God General is anxious for quick success. Don't act recklessly in the future. I will arrange a new identity for you. Your Majesty can decide," the Divine General said seriously. He changed the topic and asked, "How's the previous Heavenly Emperor?" Fang Liang smiled and said, "Don't worry, he's fine. It seems that the Heavenly Emperor did not misjudge you. You're so loyal. If you become the Heavenly Emperor, it will also be a blessing for the Heavenly Court." The Divine General shook his head and said, "I know myself. I'm suitable for battle and not leadership." Fang Liang smiled and did not say anything else. At this moment, the sky suddenly changed color. Purple light filled the sky and strange phenomena appeared. Heavenly flowers scattered and 3 flowers gathered at the top. It was dazzling. The Divine General frowned and muttered, "Another Zenith Heaven appeared." Fang Liang asked, "Do you want to become a Zenith Heaven cultivator?" Hearing this, the Divine General looked at him in surprise, not knowing what he meant. Fang Liang said calmly, "Although I'm only an immortal emperor, I have a way to help you quickly become a Zenith Heaven cultivator. However, you will also pay a tragic price." He finally understood why Fang Liang revived him. This was the true reason. However, when he thought of Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, the Divine General burned with anger. He had to take revenge. "All right, I'm willing," the Divine General replied in a low voice. Fang Liang revealed a pale smile and said, "Don't worry, I won't harm you." Zenith Heaven is a realm that most living beings can never reach in their lives. However, this process is a little long and needs 1,000 years. The Divine General nodded. He knew that it was true. Although he was the Heavenly General with the greatest contributions in the Heavenly Court, he knew that he was too far away from the Zenith Heaven realm. He didn't even have the confidence to become a Zenith Heaven cultivator by his own strength. After all, how many Zenith Heavens did the Heavenly Court have? 20 years later, in the Khanate cave abode, Hanju stopped cultivating and took out the Book of Misfortune to curse Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. As long as Jade Emperor Zhou Yan did not die, he would not be at ease. Until today, Hanju only cursed Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. With fewer and fewer enemies, he cherished them even more. Of course, it was best if there were no enemies. 5 days later, Hanju was about to continue cultivating when the strange deity came in front of him and kept wandering as if it wanted to bring him to a place. Hanju hesitated. He could read the strange deity's emotions. This fellow wanted to bring him away from Hidden Sect Island. What a joke! It was so dangerous outside. How could he go out? Hanju pressed down the strange deity and gestured for it not to go out. The strange deity stubbornly continued urging him to go out. Hanju found it annoying and imprisoned it in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. Thinking for a moment, Hanju used the simulation trial to detect the powerful enemies around the Dao field. There had to be something that could make the strange deity so agitated. It better not be a living thing. Great Nine Heavens, cultivation unknown, disciple of a sage, supremacy of the Chan school. Unknown cultivation level. A pseudo-sage. The Chan school was indeed impressive. Hanju had always felt that the Chan school was unfathomable. Previously, they had even invited all the geniuses in the immortal world to gather. They had deep foundations, and even the Heavenly Emperor often personally visited them. Hanju waited patiently. After failing to detect Great Nine Heavens, Hanju began the simulation trial. An hour later, Hanju opened his eyes and frowned. This fellow was quite something. Hanju tried his best but could only barely reach a draw. Not only was this fellow remarkable, but his Dharma treasure was also very strong. Fortunately, Hanju had the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. Hanju decided to use Great Nine Heavens as his target in the future. Although the other party was strong, it was very difficult to kill him. Hanju's goal was to kill him instantly. After Great Nine Heavens left, the strange deity calmed down. Hanju let it out. Then, he asked curiously, what made the strange deity so agitated just now? 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Seeing such a high lifespan price, it must be something big. Inferior strange deity, unknown existence. It has inherited the providence of a chaotic fiend celestial and has been nurtured for countless eras. It is about to become a spirit. Another strange deity? But this one was inferior. Hanju thought curiously, what's the difference between the two strange deities? Your strange deity has inherited the providence of all the chaotic fiend celestials. The inferior strange deity has only inherited one chaotic fiend celestial's providence. Oh, wasn't that a far cry? Hanju was relieved. It was fine as long as he had the best one. Then, he stopped thinking about it and continued to absorb the negative karma in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. In the dark universe, above the sea of clouds, under the old tree, a divine figure arrived in front of Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. It was Great Nine Heavens. Great Nine Heavens asked, were you cursed again? Jade Emperor Zhou Yan opened his eyes and nodded with an ugly expression. The dark forbidden lord was like a nightmare. He cursed him every 10 years. It was even worse because he knew the time. Even if he knew, he was helpless. This feeling was too aggrieved. During this period of time, he had been deducing fate, wanting to find the Dark Forbidden Lord, but he came up empty-handed. Great Nine Heavens raised his right hand and said, "Do you see what I'm holding?" Jade Emperor Zhou Yan asked in confusion, "There's nothing." "What are you saying?" Great Nine Heavens said, "This is a mysterious existence nurtured by the Dark Forbidden Zone. It contains the power of the legendary chaotic fiend Celestial. If nurtured, it can definitely overturn the immeasurable calamity or even dominate the great Tao immeasurable calamity." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan frowned. "You don't believe me? Then, feel it." Great Nine Heavens smiled. He waved his right hand. Immediately after, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan felt a sinister aura approaching him. It made his blood run cold. He stood up. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan observed carefully and confirmed that there was nothing. He looked at Great Nine Heavens in surprise. Great Nine Heavens said, "This is an extraordinary existence. Even a pseudo-sage like you can't capture its existence. If it wants to kill you, how can you resist?" Jade Emperor Zhou Yan frowned and asked, "Then, how did you see it?" Great Nine Heavens smiled and said, "The sect master cast a spell on my eyes." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was silent. "Next, we'll think of a way to make it stronger. Don't look for trouble with Li Daokong anymore. He has the backing of a sage, so I can't kill him personally," Great Nine Heavens said seriously. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan said in a low voice, "I'm not looking for him. He's the one who keeps looking for me." The mention of Li Daokong infuriated him. This fellow clearly could not defeat the two of them, but he insisted on courting death. However, when he thought of the sage of the human school, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan felt very helpless. The current him was far from qualified to challenge a sage. "Hide from him no matter what," Great Nine Heavens said unquestionably. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan sighed. 8 years later, detected that a mysterious mighty figure is manipulating the evil creatures rejected by the heavenly Tao to engulf the heavens. You have the following choices. 1. Exit seclusion immediately and kill the evil creatures. You can obtain heavenly Tao great merit, a great Tao fragment, and a mystical power inheritance. 2. Continue your seclusion and cultivate in a low-profile manner. You can obtain a great Tao fragment. Hanju chose the second option without hesitation. He now had 5 great Tao fragments. He was getting closer and closer to fusing them. This evil creature should be the inferior strange deity. Hanju thought silently. His strange deity had yet to mature. It would probably take time for the inferior one to grow as well. It couldn't threaten him. Hanju stopped thinking about it and continued cultivating. Half a year later, Murongqi had stepped into the emperor realm. At this point, Li Yao, Tu Linger, Fang Liang, Murongqi, Long Hao, and Su Qi had stepped into the emperor realm. This was the immeasurable calamity. With the heavenly Tao taking care of them, Providence bearers cultivated very quickly. What Hanju wanted to do was to stabilize their Tao hearts and not let them go out to waste their lives. Hanju called Murongqi into the cave abode and taught him a mystical power. Even the peak of Murongqi's previous life could not compare to the current him, so Hanju's guidance was enough to benefit him greatly. Another 3 years passed. Chu Shuren came to visit him. Hanju was already qualified to look down on this supreme Buddha. He had fought with the heavenly Tao Buddha in the simulation trial and killed him. In fact, the supreme Buddha seemed to be inferior to the heavenly Tao Buddha. Chu Shuren knelt down respectfully without the bearing of a Buddha. Hanju smiled and asked, "What's the matter?" Chu Shuren looked up at him and was secretly shocked. Had he really just entered the Zenith Heaven realm? The aura emitted by Hanju was stronger than those old Zenith Heaven cultivators. In addition, after entering the Khanate cave abode, he had a bone-chilling feeling, as if there was some evil creature secretly watching him, ready to pounce on him at any time. This feeling was indescribable, making him uneasy. This feeling made Chu Shuren respect Hanju even more. Chu Shuren adjusted his emotions and said softly, "Grandmaster, can you teach me your mystical power?" In the recent 100-year competition, he discovered that his mystical powers were inferior to Liao, Tu Linga, and the others. In his previous life, he was a Buddha. He had learned the Buddhist Dharma methods. Although his cultivation level was high, his mystical powers were not good. The mystical powers he grasped were greatly inferior to the ones Hanju taught. Hanju smiled and said, "If you become an immortal emperor, I will teach you a supreme mystical power." Chu Shuren looked up and asked, "Really?" "Yes, I've always looked forward to your growth." "Thank you, Grand Master." After bowing, Chu Shuren hurriedly left. Hanju glared at the strange deity beside him. This fellow had been lying beside Chu Shuren just now and clearly made him uncomfortable. Hanju was still very glad about the change in Chu Shuren. If not for his different ideals, he would probably become the strongest among the 5 great Buddhas. After Chu Shuren left, Hanju continued cultivating. The strange deity lay on his back. Ever since it helped Hanju reach the zenith heaven realm, the strange deity often helped him absorb negative karma. With its help, Hanju's absorption speed far exceeded his own cultivation speed. Not only that, but the strange deity was also becoming stronger. Hanju had entered a simulation trial with it not long ago. This fellow already had the combat strength of a zenith heaven golden immortal. However, it was ignorant and did not have any fancy mystical powers. It fought too directly and clumsily. Hanju and the strange deity seemed to be entering a strange coexistence state. In this coexisting state, the stronger Hanju was, the stronger the strange deity became. Furthermore, Hanju could completely control the other party's life and death. It was as if Hanju inexplicably thought of the fantasy novels he had read in his previous life. This was like a martial soul? Interesting. With the strange deity's presence, Hanju would be equivalent to having an active avatar in future battles. He would also have 3,000 fiend celestial Dharma idols. An army by himself? Hanju was excited. He wanted to be invincible among those of the same realm. This was the case for Zenith Heaven, and it was the same even after he had attained the Tao. Time passed quickly. 50 years passed in the blink of an eye. Hanju maintained the frequency of cursing once every 10 years. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was fine, but he didn't cause trouble recently. The recent immortal world was extremely harmonious. It was so harmonious that Hanju thought that the calamity had ended. This was until he saw an email. Your grand disciple Fang Liang received the inheritance of your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. His cultivation has increased greatly. What the hell? Fang Liang had submitted to the enemy? Or did Jade Emperor Zhou Yan bow down to him? Hanju wanted to use the derivation function to understand, but on second thought, there was no need. In any case, the outcome of the calamity had already changed. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan couldn't laugh until the end. Why should he care about his current situation? There were 6-star hatred points. No matter what, he had to curse him to death to prevent future trouble. I can't let him have a chance to rise again or clear his name. Hanju thought silently. His cultivation had increased quite a lot recently. He could squander his lifespan to celebrate. Find EW chapters on NVLBI. Calm. He locked the strange deity into the 30th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and took out the Book of Misfortune to curse Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. 5 days later, Hanju's lifespan began to decrease. In the Imperial Garden in the 9th level of the Immortal World, Fang Liang, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, and Great Nine Heavens were sitting around the stone table. Great Nine Heavens revealed his true appearance. He looked like a scholar, but his figure was extremely burly. I only have one request. Let the Heavenly Emperor go, Fang Liang said. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan shook his head and said, he faked his death. I didn't torture him. He's doing well now. If you're worried, I can let you interact with him. Fang Liang nodded slowly. He looked at Great Nine Heavens and said, can you represent the Chan school? Great Nine Heavens said, of course, we can. The humans' rise is unstoppable. This calamity has already become clear. It will definitely be a war between humans and gods. Other sages among the humans have arrived first. The heavenly court is also a force supported by the Tao sect. We have no choice. Fang Liang's eyes flickered. He was suffering inside. After all, he was also a human. Great Nine Heavens continued, His Majesty needs the help of the two of us. The heavenly court will definitely be powerful. If the humans win, what do you think they will do to them? The heavenly court can tolerate humans, but humans can't tolerate the heavenly court. Fang Liang frowned. This was very realistic and also the truth. He had lived in the mortal world and knew the evil of human nature. If the humans defeated the heavenly court, the immortal gods would no longer exist. Even if they survived, they would live an ignoble life. To let the immortal gods be slaves of the human race, could they still be considered immortal gods, then? If the heavenly court wins, we will obtain great providence. With His Majesty's decision, the humans will also have a chance of survival. Great Nine Heavens continued to persuade. Fang Liang sighed. He knew that the other party was plotting something, but he couldn't refuse. The current heavenly court was not as strong as before. The various forces in the immortal world were overthrowing the rule of the immortals. If this continued, even if they didn't encounter powerful enemies, the heavenly court would only exist in name. As the heavenly emperor, Fang Liang had to do something. Just as he was hesitating, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, causing the stone table to instantly turn into dust. Fang Liang was so shocked that he stood up and retreated. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan hurriedly meditated and circulated his energy to suppress the powerful curse. Great Nine Heavens frowned and asked, "The Dark Forbidden Lord?" Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's face was pale as he replied, "Who else could it be?" His tone was filled with helplessness. Now, even his anger was gone. He was already used to it. Fang Liang asked, "Can't the Chan school deduce who the Dark Forbidden Lord is?" Great Nine Heavens and Jade Emperor Zhou Yan were silent. That's right. Even sages could not deduce it. This was the most terrifying thing. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan couldn't help but feel despair. Being pestered by the Dark Forbidden Lord, he might one day face the calamity of death. Suddenly, an even stronger curse attacked. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's expression changed drastically as he hurriedly said, "Quick, use your dermic powers to help me suppress the Tao fruit." Great Nine Heavens arrived behind Jade Emperor Zhou Yan and pressed his palm on his back. Soon, Great Nine Heavens couldn't help but be moved. He had never been cursed by the Dark Forbidden Lord, so he had always been suspicious. Was the Dark Forbidden Lord's curse really that terrifying? But now, so powerful. That fellow is definitely cursing with his lifespan. Could it be that he is sacrificing the lives of countless living beings, so he only curses once every 10 years? Great Nine Heavens frowned as he thought about it. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that this was the case. What a ruthless Dark Forbidden Lord! It was truly a crime punishable by death. In Great Nine Heavens' mind, the Dark Forbidden Lord became evil and cruel. Fang Liang watched from the side and noticed the change in their expressions. He had an idea. Were the two of them desperate and deliberately trying to deceive him? He prepared to curse Jade Emperor Zhou Yan until he was severely injured. He didn't want this fellow to harm his grand disciple. Hanju cursed as he stared at the attributes panel. His lifespan had already decreased by 80 billion years. Even many stars couldn't live that long. Continue. 90 billion years. 100 billion years. 110 billion years. 120 billion years. 130 billion years. 140 billion years. Hanju's heart started to bleed and he hesitated to continue. Damn it! Let's go! He had already sacrificed so much. How could he give up? He would succeed if he persisted for a little longer. He couldn't waste all his efforts. Hanju insisted on cursing. Strands of strange black aura wrapped around his body. It was very strange and terrifying. Soon, his lifespan decreased by 150 billion years. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was still persisting. Hanzhu almost died of anger. He could only grit his teeth and continue. When Hanzhu's lifespan was deducted to nearly 170 billion years, he finally saw an email. Because of your curse, your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's Dao fruit cracked. His mental demons haunted him. His dermic powers surged and he lost his mind. Hanzhu hurriedly stopped cursing. Almost 170 billion years of lifespan. Hanzhu's heart bled. Too painful. As expected of a pseudo-sage. Such curses only made him lose his mind. It seemed that if he wanted to use the curse to kill Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, he was underestimating the pseudo-sage. What Hanzhu could do was to mess with the other party. After putting down the Book of Misfortune, Hanzhu started to think hard. What should he do to kill Jade Emperor Zhou Yan? Hanzhu suddenly thought of Shuemingdi. He had an idea. He immediately used his mystical power, Dark Nightmare, and sent him a dream. Immediately after, he entered the dream realm and saw Shuemingdi. This was a mountain peak. Shuemingdi was meditating. He suddenly opened his eyes and was pleasantly surprised to see Hanzhu. He hurriedly stood up and knelt in front of him. Greetings, Dark Forbidden Lord. Hanzhu pretended to be the Dark Forbidden Lord and said in a low voice, I want Jade Emperor Zhou Yan dead. Shuemingdi looked up and said without hesitation, What do you need me to do? Just tell me. Previously, he was present when Li Daokong repelled Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. The reason why Jade Emperor Zhou Yan retreated was clearly that he was cursed by the Dark Forbidden Lord. After that, Shuemingdi firmly believed that Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was not the Dark Forbidden Lord's match. After being humiliated by him, Shuemingdi had been waiting for an opportunity. The opportunity had finally arrived. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan wants to slaughter all living beings and replace the Dao ancestors' influence on the heavenly Dao, controlling the heavenly Dao alone. Spread this news, Hanzhu said. His tone was calm, and it was difficult to guess his emotions. Shuemingdi immediately said, I'll immediately let the Darkness Sect and the Ashura race spread the news. He didn't care if what Hanzhu said was true. Even if it was a lie, he had a way to make it true. Hanzhu stared at him and stopped talking. Feeling his gaze, Shuemingdi felt uneasy, not knowing what Hanzhu was going to say. After a long while, just as Shuemingdi was about to collapse, Hanzhu suddenly dismissed the dream. After returning to the Khanate cave abode, Hanzhu was depressed. Why was Shuemingdi so obedient and did not ask for anything? Should he read his mind? Forget it. It didn't mean much. Even if Shuemingdi was disobedient, it didn't affect him. Hanzhu felt that he couldn't be addicted to spending his life. After reaching the Zenith Heaven realm, it would take a long time to break through. He didn't want to use up all his lifespan before it was refreshed again. Even if he used half, it wouldn't be good. Check out LT, SDVL, on NOVL bin. CM habits were too terrifying and difficult to change. Hanzhu performed Dark Nightmare again. This time, he used it on Jing Tiangong of the Jie school and told him the same thing. Jing Tiangong also agreed readily. However, unlike Shuemingdi, he asked Hanzhu about the Jie school's attitude. Hanzhu replied ambiguously, claiming that if the Jie school did not become his enemy, he would not target them. Jing Tiangong was relieved and said that he would definitely defame Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Hanzhu was unhappy. What did he mean by defame? This was the truth. After dreaming twice, Hanzhu stopped messing around and continued cultivating. He would visit the Heavenly Emperor in a few decades. Recently, the Heavenly Emperor seemed to have become peaceful. He didn't cause trouble anymore, and no one cursed him. That made sense. Everyone thought that the Heavenly Emperor had already died. Heavenly Emperor, wait a little longer. When I kill Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, you will be saved. Hanju thought silently. Killing a pseudo-sage required time. After all, Hanju was not a pseudo-sage. In the numinous palace, the immortal gods gathered. An old immortal said, trembling, "Your Majesty, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan wants to slaughter all living beings and replace the heavenly Tao. This matter has already spread to the heavens. The heavenly court can't cooperate with him. On the contrary, we have to declare war on Jade Emperor Zhou Yan." The divine general stood up and said in a low voice, "That's right. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan must die." Li Daogong's eyes were cold as he stared at Fang Liang. The hall was extremely noisy. Upon hearing that Fang Liang wanted to confer the title of emperor to Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, the immortals exploded. The heavenly court was on the decline because of Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Now that they were working with Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, where was the heavenly court's backbone? Fang Liang said expressionlessly, "I've already heard your opinions. From now on, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan will be an eternal enemy of the heavenly court. At the same time, we will abolish Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's position and sever his karma and faith with the heavenly court." The immortals cheered upon hearing this. Li Daokong smiled. Li Xianao clicked his tongue in wonder. Severing karma and faith. How ruthless. One moment ago, he was talking about conferring the emperor title, and the next, he was cutting off Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's escape route. Li Xianao didn't know if Fang Liang was a fence-sitter or ruthlessly decisive. No matter what Fang Liang thought, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan could forget about involving the heavenly court. Fang Liang looked at Ji Xianshan and asked, "How's the situation overseas?" Ji Xianshan replied, "We have already recruited 100,000 immortals. Half of them are above the heaven immortal realm." The literature immortals were shocked. "So many?" Fang Liang smiled and said, "Can you continue recruiting?" "Yes, but we have to use the Divine Investiture Board. Those cultivators are worried. They hope to have the Providence of Immortals." Ji Xianshan nodded. The Divine Investiture Board was a shackle to some immortals and gods, but to most people, it was a guarantee to step into the immortal realm. Immortals were not self-appointed. They needed to obtain the recognition of the heavenly Tao, regardless of race. Under the heavenly Tao, immortals were treated better than all living beings. There was no dispute. It was precisely because of this that immortals did not dare to rashly create slaughter, afraid of violating the heavenly rules and attracting monstrous negative karma. Fang Liang asked, "Has the human race expanded overseas?" Ji Xianshan shook his head and said, "No, the humans are consolidating internally." At this moment, a literature immortal stood up and said, "Your Majesty, the humans have declared that they want to destroy the numinous palace and must be suppressed. They shouted that humans should be ranked higher than immortals and gods, stirring up the hearts of the people. This is not a good sign. Humans should rank higher than immortals." Fang Liang couldn't help but frown. The immortals were the same,